As the Internet of Things advances, the very notion of a clear dividing line between reality and virtual reality becomes blurred, sometimes in creative ways. Hello and a very good evening, everyone. I would like to warmly welcome you all to the webinar of IOTLOGY, where man meets machine, organized by the IEEE IES Student Branch Chapter of Sri Lanka Technological Campus. To learn is to experience, and experience we must every single day. So on this exciting day, I invite you all to learn and experience the connections of the Internet of Things brings forth to the future. Without further ado, let us now step into the world of IoT. To get today's session into motion, I cordially invite the co-chairman, Sachin Takalankar, to deliver the welcome speech.
Thank you, Sakuni. Am I audible?
Yes, Sachin, you're audible.
Good evening, all. Hope you all are well and are staying safe. We at the IEEE IES Student Branch Chapter of SLTC always bring you the best webinars on timely topics. Today, we are going to learn about the Internet of Things with the best person discussing on that topic. First of all, as a co-chairman, I would like to welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Migara Amithodana, co-founder of MagicBit. You will understand that he is the best person discussing on this topic in future proceedings of this session. Next, I would like to welcome Bionic Academy, who is sponsoring us with the awards for the top scorers of the quiz. Last but not least, I would like to welcome all undergraduates, students, graduates, and other people who came to our webinar. Hope you all will have a fruitful session. Thank you. Over to you, Sakuni.
Thank you, Sachinta. I would now like to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, Mr. Migara Amithodana. He is a proud product of Ananda College, who received his Bachelor of Science in Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering from the University of Moratuwa. He has a master's degree in Business Administration and Management from the University of Colombo. Currently, he is a chartered engineer working as the regional manager at Sri Lanka Telecom Ratmalana. Mr. Migara is a passionate individual in IoT who is a co-founder of MagicBit. MagicBit is a platform to learn and practice new technologies like electronics, robotics, IoT, and computer programming, which has won the National Competition for Growth Stage category in Entrepreneurship World Cup. Mr. Migara is a well-renowned speaker about telecommunication, ICT, and IoT sectors, as well as on utilizing technical, analytical, interpersonal skills, and crowdfunding. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sakuni, for that wonderful introduction. And I must thank, first of all, SL team for organizing this wonderful session. It's indeed a delight to be part of such initiatives by students. I always accept such invitations from universities and student bodies because I really love this enthusiasm among you all about technology and reaching out to the industry and eagerness to learn about the new things. And especially, I'm very moved by today's participation for the session. It's over 200, and I think at one point I saw it's over 250, which is really great participation for an online event. So I should thank the organizing committee of SLTC of this event for inviting me and for organizing this session. I'll try to share my experience and what I know about this area with you all, which will be beneficial for all the students who are joining with us today. I was informed that we will be joined by students from the university as well as from the outside. So in order to suit the knowledge levels, I will try to explain some of the topics the way I can. But in case if you have any problems or any clarification, please feel free to ask after this session during the Q&A And so my name is Migaram. I think I got a nice introduction by Sakuni, so no need to elaborate more. And honestly, my passion is about IoT, about innovation. And I firmly believe that we can create very good technological innovations in Sri Lanka, compete with the world. And that is the message I want to leave you all at the end of this presentation as well. So today's content that I'm going to present you will be about a brief intro about IoT, the architecture, what sort of applications we are looking at, what are the trends, and what sort of innovations that you can do, and what sort of innovations that we have done. Because I think you all might have seen, if I'm going to show you a few YouTube clips, that it's not going to work, right? I think you are not here to see YouTube videos from a speaker. So I will show you some of the projects that we have done to give you an idea what you all can do as well. On the other hand, I will introduce you to IoT platforms that is out there. And then at the end, I will share some details about Magic Bit and how you can start this on your own as well. So the whole idea of this presentation is to leave you with inspiration that you can do it yourself, and also we can do it in Sri Lanka. Because I think when you see people going to the space as space tourists, when you see autonomous vehicles manufactured in the other countries, sometimes you might wonder how come we can develop this sort of technology in Sri Lanka, whether these things will ever come. I think it's just a matter of finding your inner inspiration to develop that technology, because I think technology is not that much far away from us, as long as we are keen to know about this, because I think nowadays we have knowledge in abundance with us thanks to the internet. So all I want to do is inspire you all that we all can do this during this 1 hour session, because I think from just 1 hour or 1.5 hours, I cannot give you the entire picture from A to Z about the technology, but then I can give you a very good idea about how it works and examples and how you can do. So to start off, I will be conducting the session during in English language, and if you are feel free to ask any question during the Q&A, English or Sinhala. And sorry, I'm not familiar with the Tamil language, but you can feel free to ask the questions in the Q&A session, and I think you can even post it in the chat as well. So I will conduct the session and afterwards move on to the Q&A. So let's start the session about IoT. So it's all going to change with IoT, because it is said that the connected devices in the industries will go beyond 8% by 2025. And I think you all are pretty aware about what is happening right now. I mean, not the economic crisis and all that is going on in news, but we are in the middle of an technological revolution. Because I think you might have seen during the past 3-4 years that technologies like IoT, robotics, these things are always hot topics, right? Even in the industry, people are speaking about it, and you can see plenty of applications are coming up. You see innovations every year. So the technology is transforming in a very rapid pace. So that's why we are telling that we are right now in industry 4.0, and soon there will be industry 5.0 as well. So to give you a brief about how this works, now the industry 1.0 is I think 1700s, and 2.0 is 1800s, and industry 3.0 industry 2.0 is in the 1800s, and 3.0 maybe after 1950, and 4.0 we can consider after 2000 or 2010. And even right now we are discussing about an industry 5.0 as well. So you can see from 1950-70 period to 2010 or 2020, it took around 50 to 60 years to the next technical leap. but now already people are speaking about another technical solution. So that is the place that technology is transforming, and IoT and other technologies are one of key areas contributing to that change. So I have mentioned few technologies here like uh, robotics, cloud technologies, data, AI, and nanotechnologies, 5G. So these are some of the things that are enabling the Industry 4.0 that we are talking about. So Industry 4.0 or this technology, will it be only for engineers or people in the tech industry? The beauty of this technical revolution or this transformation is it's not about engineers or it's not about technicians or people in the tech industry anymore. It's about our life because people in every sector are going to get affected by this technological trend, like musicians, farmers, artists, doctors, even lawyers. So basically, that's why all the big companies are behind these technologies as well. So every aspect of our life is going to change because of technology, and this is what I meant by Industry 4.0 and the contribution from different technologies. So we can see different technologies are here. So why are we talking about this IoT? Why we have to discuss significantly about IoT? I think this graph gives you a brief idea about that. You can see this graph I from a report, and this is not just to prove my point. You can check it out on the internet as well. So there's a fair reason why we consider IoT is a very important technology in all this. So I'm not giving you the I'm not reasoning out because of this graph actually. I just took this graph as an example. So you can see compared to other technologies, IoT has a high impact on the industry and every aspect of life. So that happens because IoT, from my belief, is IoT is an enabler. So you realize very soon why it's an enabler for other technologies. For example, for cloud technology, for big data. Now, if I tell you a very brief example, if you just read something about data, you can understand it's all about data to analyze the patterns and do prediction and come up with new models, right? So all of it is the same with AI or machine learning that we are talking about, right? So all these things need more and more data to analyze and identify the patterns, to have predictive mechanisms and all that. So all of these things need data, right? So how we can capture the data in our environment is using technologies like IoT. That is why I meant by the point that IoT is simpler, and that is why IoT is an important IoT plays a very important part in this technical revolution. And I think that is in fact the reason that you all should learn about IoT as well. So what is IoT? I'm not going to follow these definitions actually. So because this is something you can just simply Google and find it. So it's all about machine to machine communication to achieve a specific task that we want to do something better or a better result, right? So let me put this way. Now we all know about internet. Internet is all about connect. People say internet is a network of networks, right? So uh, we have computers, we have servers, and many of them are connected to a network, right? So typically in the internet, how we interact with it is we interact with the computer and we access to a remote server like and we access to some resources there like a website, right? But in an IoT application, what happens is even without human interaction, a machine or a device connects to the internet and it can connect to cloud or another server or it can connect to another machine. So the device can communicate with another device or with server even without human interaction. So I think that is the very simple explanation that I can give you about IoT. So it's all about connected devices. It's all about machine communication. And some people call it cyber physical systems as well. So when we talk about IoT, don't overthink it and understand it like another technology. Actually, IoT is an umbrella term. Basically, if you want to develop an IoT application, you need to know about technologies like electronics, programming, communication, cloud technology, and etc. So it's not a thing like, okay, I'm going to do, if we are referring to something like programming, you can select a programming language and program something, right? But you can't say someone, I'm going to develop an IoT, and there's nothing specific called IoT thing. It's actually referred to a bundled solution with all these technologies. For example, if we have an IoT solution, we should have a device. So we should be able to program it to work in the board, should have certain protocols to work, should have a server part, likewise. So it's actually an umbrella term. So what sort of devices are connected as of now? Now it could be very small devices like a small sensor or a chip. That is why I think it has gone to a level that people are so afraid of these connected devices. I think you might have seen some parts of the world, people were refusing even the corona vaccine, thinking that there are hidden microchips or something in the vaccine, right? But honestly, now today we don't have that sort of very micro level sensors, although people having that sort of accusation. But it is a level that people have thought about this. But honestly, there are very small connected devices, and it could be very large devices as well, like an aeroplane. For example, nowadays, if you go on a commercial airline, sometimes you can access the internet with Wi-Fi inside the plane, right? So that happens because the plane is connected and it has all these autopilot and the communication inside the plane through satellites. So satellites are also connected to the internet. So you can see not only small devices, it's a wide range of devices from your own home appliances to tiny sensors to very large devices. All these devices are connected to form this very large network of networks, and it is predicted uh, in different numbers, in different statistics. So I do not follow these numbers. I don't stick into these numbers that much, but you can check on these numbers. There are different figures on different sites and different studies. But the idea that we have to get is, right now, the number of connected devices is just over, let's say, 20 billion, right? So the world population is just over 7 billion, right? So it's already over about three times the world population. And the funny thing is, not even 50% of the world population even have internet right now, right? If you take Sri Lanka, about a good 40 to 50% of our population still don't have broadband internet, right? So that is the situation in Sri Lanka. But when we think about the connected devices, already we have over 20 billion devices. And it is predicted that this number will go to over 50 billion or 100 billion by the end of 2030 or by the end of this decade. I think this is where the opportunity lies. So although the number could change for different reasons, the idea is quite clear that the number of connected devices is going to increase, and you all will have to face this challenge because this thing happened during your lifetime. I think now when we talk about these subject areas, it could be kind of new to you now. But when I recall now, it recalls me something similar to maybe a mobile app. When somebody talked to me about a mobile app in the year 2008, it was like a new thing for us, and we never thought that we will have millions of mobile apps uh, uh, within the next 10 years. And that is exactly what happened. So IoT is also like that. Right now, we cannot see much applications in our environment, but very soon the thing is going to change by the end of this decade. So you all will have. So if you are ready to take on a ride on this technological wave, I think there will be very good opportunities. So with that note, let's move on to a bit technicality about the technology. So when we talk about the layers of IoT architecture, there are three layers basically: the gateway or the communication layer, and the cloud things layer. That is why it is called the Internet of Things. It's all about the devices. So things or the devices could be sensors, actuators, or could be human interface devices, and can be computers or network devices. Talk about sensors, could be different parameters, capturing different parameters. I will an example from an industrial application in a while and explain to you about that. So if we talk about actuators, it could be motors, bulbs, switches, like that. So I think you get the idea. It could be any device or a small sensor, or even a device like a mobile phone or a computer. Anything connected can be considered as a device or a thing here. So it could be out of the box something that you buy from the market, or else it could be something that you develop yourself as well. So in that sense, you would have to develop the device or the electronic part plus a method to connect it, right? So the other part is the network layer or the communication layer. So right now I'm going through the three layers of IoT. The network layer could be, I think this is one of the areas that is more relevant to the telecommunication engineering side. It's one of the parts that we had in our topic as well. So when we talk about the communication layer, I think one of the most miscommunicated things is people think IoT is all about 5G only. Actually, it's not the truth, because when it comes to the network layer or the communication in IoT, it could be anything, even something like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and there are things like NFC. So it could be either 2G, 3G, 4G, or even 5G. So it's just a mode of communication only. On the other hand, there are good wired communication methods as well, like Internet, power line communication. So all these things can be used for IoT applications. So IoT is all about connecting devices to the internet, connecting devices with each other to achieve a better result or a task. So it's not something just wireless, right? Because I think most of you might have the idea that IoT should be wireless. That is what I just want to break that myth. So IoT should not be necessarily wireless. I think it can be wired as well. It's all about connected devices. So uh, why are we hearing about 5G, and what is the importance of 5G to IoT? I think the importance of 5G is uh, right now in Sri Lanka we have only 4G technology and 4G and 3G mainly. And I think right now most of the operators have good coverage in terms of 4G internet in Sri Lanka. The speed could vary, but I think it will take some time for 5G to come to Sri Lanka. And why the world is talking about 5G is it has more speed and very low latency. Latency is very important when we are connecting a device to the internet or to a server remotely. The communication speed matters, right? On the other hand, we have such reliable communication, we can achieve better results connected to the cloud as well. On the other hand, I think one of the very good points that I wanted to highlight here is there's a feature called network slicing available in communications. There we can have different service quality levels for different networks. So let's say I have a IoT network. Now, right now, if you have a 4G router at your home, and if you have a IoT solution at your home, you connect both these things to a telecommunication network, you get the same level of service or the same download speed or the same level of reception or nearly the same quality of service for both the connections, right? You are using two connections, one for your home and one for your IoT connection at home. I think you will get the same level of quality. So the idea of this network slicing is providing different service quality levels for different applications, which is something done with virtually segmenting some of the solutions or the some of the communication that we are doing. So those are some of the advantages of 5G, and it's just a mode of communication. And I think we don't have to wait for 5G at all. We can start off with IoT. We have plenty of infrastructure right now, and I think even 3G, 4G, and things like 2G is quite. Uh, I think it's more than enough to develop an IoT, because I think there's no requirement for 5G at all for start developing IoT stuff. So with that note, if I go to the other layer, the third one, the cloud. Actually, why we are using cloud is cloud technology has advantages. One thing is you don't have to worry about the internet developing site, developing dashboards from the scratch. You can do all those things using existing services. I think one thing that people don't understand is when we are thinking about IoT solutions and you see all these big dashboards and web-based interfaces and all that, I think students hesitate to step into IoT because they think that they have to develop these things from the scratch. Now, if you have knowledge, once you have learned everything, it's good to try to develop something better from the scratch. But for now, you can use the existing stuff. All the cloud, there are plenty of cloud services out there you can use, and there are many applications which are plug and play. Sometimes you just have to configure. I'll show you a few as well. So, what does this cloud is? Now, the information that we gather through devices in IoT, the information that we communicated through the communication layer, so that data can be stored, that data can be processed, that data can be analyzed, and also visualized using the cloud service. That is what basically cloud does in IoT. So apart from that, I think one of the reasons that we are using cloud is cloud services. You can search on this topic about the cloud technology to learn more. It has made good advantages, like now if you are not using cloud, what we can use, then you might think. I think the easiest way is you can just simply use a computer. Right? You can maybe have your own server, or maybe use your own computer and run a simple web server on your computer, which is a quite simple thing. And let's say you have a small company and you want to run an IoT solution, and you are not ready to expose your data to someone outside. You want to have that infrastructure within your company, you can simply do that. So you don't have to go for a cloud application. You can do it in-house as well using a server or a computer. But why we are moving to cloud? Because it is very low cost. When we are thinking about processing 10 GB of data, or when we are storing this data, the data gets accumulated. So there's a storage problem. When we want to process the data, there's a memory problem. When we want, when the data is accumulated, we need to expand the capacity as well. So how we can do all this? That is where the cloud is facilitating us, because if you are dealing with the cloud service, you can simply expand any part of that, like memory or the capacity. If you are having a 10 GB capacity in a cloud service, if you want to have 20 GB additionally that to your server or the virtual machine you are using, it's just a simple few clicks away. So it's quite easy, and it is quite scalable, and it's very easy to use, and it has more security as well, because when you're using these sort of services, we are relying on those figures and we need backups, and we need to you have recovery methods. There are certain advantages we to cloud computing for this sort of application. Let's think about a small example for the normal delivery service or a cab service or a courier service you are, or you all might have used at some part of life by now, because I think for the last 3 weeks you all are in a lockdown situation. So you might order something online, and this is what happens when you order something online through your mobile. You can see the vehicle is coming, and you can see the location as well. So what happens is there's a GPS tracker in the device. It could be either from the mobile phone of the driver, or it could be a physical electronic GPS tracker connected to the vehicle as well. So that GPS tracker gets GPS coordinates connected to the satellite, and it is communicated to the server side of the application via the application network. And that data is accessed by the user or by you through your mobile phone. So actually, this vehicle is acting as a device part, and the communication layer is the GSM network, and this is the cloud part, the application server. Actually, when you are using the mobile app, you are a user, and the mobile app is a user interface accessing this data. That is a very good example for everyone. Now, to achieve this in IoT, what sort of protocols that you can? I think there are the most popular protocol in is HTTP or HTTPS. And but when we talk about IoT, there are very lightweight and popular protocols like, and also there's constrained application protocols as well. So today I'm going to speak about HTTP because it's a very popular thing. So if you are, I think you are a very young student, maybe 10 years or 12 years, this part might not be that much interest to you, but I'll have a couple of slides for the interest of the undergraduates and others here. It's actually a very lightweight publish subscribe method messaging protocol. It is not a very complex thing. You don't have to worry about now. You just have to have an idea about these things, but not go to the granular level and very deep to use these things. That's the beauty of this. Even the MQTT protocol is very easy to use. It's not a very complex thing. So even actually, even a small kid can use. Don't think that it's a very complex thing. This is a very simple thing actually. So it's a publish and subscribe based method. Actually, how it works is now it's a communication protocol. What we mean by it's a publish and subscribe based messaging service. Let's say you are a Facebook user and I have a Facebook account and you are one of my followers. So if I publish something on my wall, you can see it, right? And if you are, I think you have an option where you can have notifications of such posts, right? Give me a minute, everyone. Hi, everyone. I think there's a small connection delay as per the organizing team. So let me drop from the session and quickly connect to it again. Give me like 30 seconds. I will Hi, Akila. Akila, can you confirm that you can see my screen correctly?
Yes, so we can.
Okay, nice. I think I just switched on to. I just switched my connection to my to the fiber, because I think I was earlier connected to a 4G network. So I think that's a very good example about the dependence on the network for communication as well. So this is exactly what happens in IoT as well. So if you are not that if the communication is not that much required in a rapid phase, or if we don't want the response very quickly, we can use any technology. So that is why everybody is speaking about 5G and everything, because in most of the application nowadays, people need the response or the details very quickly. So that's why importance of 5G also comes into play. So we were talking about this MQTT protocol. So it's a publish and subscribe based messaging service. So what it does is simply like a social media follower. If I am publishing something, if you have subscribed to my, you can see the content that I am publishing. So it acts in exactly the same way. It's actually a one-to-many communication system. For example, and I am one of the if I am one of the publishing uh, devices, I can publish a topic, and everyone who has subscribed to that topic can see that information. So let me show that in a graph so it will be more clear to you. So let's say I'm a client here and I am publishing something like SLTC message 1. So if this client has subscribed to that topic called SLTC message 1, he can that device can listen to that message. So what happens is this communication is enabled by something called message broker. It's actually a server. What it does is all these devices are connected to this server by default, and basically it routes the message from one client to many clients. That is what these MQTT brokers are doing. You can learn more about MQTT, and I'll show you a way to experiment with MQTT as well in the coming slides. It's kind of fun and it's kind of easy. So you can develop very cool application that as well. Very useful to develop even industrial applications. You are doing some final year projects or student projects and innovations will be useful. So I think this is another graph that I want to show you about MQTT and the other protocol. So, okay. And when it comes to the security aspect of it, I just want to have this slide to cover the security aspect of IoT, because MQTT is a communication protocol that we are using. I think the easiest way to embed security in IoT is in protocol layer. Basically, it could be broken security in the server.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, your overlays are visible in the slides.
Sorry, I think some part of the presentation you cannot see clearly, and I was informed by the organizing. And thanks for noting and pointing it out. So, and if you can't hear anything, or if you have a disturbance, just let me know. I think organizers can watch out on that thing. So, right. And we were talking about the MQTT security. So if you are very much concerned about the security aspect of it, you can simply have certain security measures even in MQTT protocol as well. And we can publish the data in something called topic, and you can randomize the topic, and the data in the packet also somebody can see, and there are methods to put passwords and secure the communication. There are encrypting methods. So there are different things. So if we talk about a practical application, IoT application, there are things that we call as nodes. So all I want to show you is how this is practically done. So now we talk about different layers of IoT. Now I just want you to show how these layers are practically done. So basically, by the devices in an IoT application, we have sensors. At the end of the application, we have the sensors to the data, and we have gateways or communication modules to connect the sensors to the internet. And it will be either gateways or edge computing devices. I will show you what is edge computing devices. And by cloud, basically, most of the time we have these dashboards. So how these sensor nodes are used in IoT application? Mostly to capture the environmental parameters like temperature, humidity, proximity, or rain. So let's say you want to capture some parameters in a cultivation, you can use a soil moisture sensor, right? So it's all about capturing some parameters. It could be about machines as well, like the production, fault count, energy consumption, and about humans as well. If you are using smartwatches, you can capture human data as well, and in some of the medical applications, or it could be GPS trackers, step count, heart rate as well. And we are selecting a sensor for an IoT application. What sort of that we should look for? Actually, we should think about the correct parameter to capture in the application, and the required accuracy, reliability, and where we want to connect that to, and also the cost and the lead time to get that. Actually, why I want to mention this one, because sometimes you might think that you can simply develop an IoT application by getting a sensor from PETA and putting in some and showing some data. No, actually, it's not going to work, because if you are developing an IoT application, it should give you reliable information. If somebody is taking business decisions on that, it should have that reliability. How you can do that? When you are getting sensors from reliable suppliers, they have a data sheet for the sensor, and these data sheets have what is the accuracy, what is the reliability, what is optimum conditions that you can operate these sensors like. So that is how you have to select a sensor. Even for your, I think one student asked me this question as well earlier. If you are doing a project as a student, if you are doing a proof of concept design, or if you are doing a prototype, it is totally okay to use the sensor from the open market or from China or other country. But if you are doing it as a product or a new innovation that is to be commercially used, you have to think about these factors when you are selecting for the IoT application. When it comes to the gateway part, you can either choose some module to transfer the data from the sensors to the cloud or somewhere else, or even to a computer or a database. But you have to think the way that you are going to connect the sensor to this communication gate, the communication mode. Now, most of the time, you can, if you are a student developing a project, you can use any microcontroller development board for this one with the connectivity module like Wi-Fi or a GSM module, connecting the whole device set to be. And what I mean by edge computing device now, because we currently have these devices called edge computing devices, we have higher processing powers, chips like system on chips and all that. Even in Magic Bit, we have a system on chip, so we have the capacity to process the data even at the point as well. So we don't necessarily have to go to cloud always. We can do certain processing part at the end as well. That is what edge computing is. So there are different advantages and disadvantages between cloud and edge. And I think computing will be the future of IoT technology as well. There are more data will be processed at the endpoint. Cloud will be more about visualization and identifying patterns and for big data, AI like analytics. So one beautiful fact about IoT and all this is you can integrate the data with other systems like ERP, CRM systems in companies, or maybe you can develop nice illustrations or visualizations of data like dashboards. And most of these IoT platforms has web frameworks where you can develop very nice dashboards. I'm going to show you how you can do such small dashboard very easily as well. There are ways you can do it quickly and easily as well. So what sort of IoT applications we are talking about here? Basically, one of the popular things is the smart home. I think all might have seen. And all these devices are currently available for all to check because no need to reinvent these devices. What is happening lately is all the consumer electronic devices that can be connected to the internet and they have different use cases. And another very good idea is the smart grid, where smart metering, smart appliances, and smart generation happens, especially in electricity. And not only electricity, actually, utilities like even water can be automated using smart technologies, like, for example, like smart metering, which will be one of the future things. And I think has already pilot projects in Sri Lanka on this one. And the other part is industrial Internet of Things, where we can use IoT for automations and to achieve better results in industry. So these are three projects that we did, I think, different areas. First one is the Research Institute to automate the weathering process, where we measure the humidity and moisture content of the tea leaves and control the fan speed during the process by save energy. And the second thing is a monitoring system for down machine. So what it does is measure the downtime, the fault detection. So if you are the owner of this company or the manager of this manufacturing store, you can at any given time you can check the real-time status of your product line. It's a great thing if you are a decision maker. And the other part is a weather parameter monitoring system, basically weather station. We have done a lot of weather station projects in Sri Lanka. So the beautiful factor is individual weather sensors like let's say a rain gauge meter, or maybe measuring the wind speed. Take these sensors individually, I think the cost is not that much. But if you take a whole weather station completely, that will cost you millions of that is where I think where we also can play. We were working under the name NT Labs as a research R&D firm in Sri Lanka, targeting electronics in the areas of IoT. So these are some of the projects that we're involved with. I just wanted to show you, to give you the idea, these things are not fictional anymore. These things are already here, and we can do this in Sri Lanka. So that is the message I want to give you through this one. These things are operational at the moment in Sri Lanka. All things were built in Sri Lanka. And I have a short video. I'll skip it for now, since we are running out of time. So this is again the hardware that we use for that one. Actually, what we did to develop all these applications, what we did was we developed a certain module in Sri Lanka, which is a IoT node. Basically, what that does is capture sensors can be directly connected to that node, and that node communicates cloud and can be configured. So actually, this sort of nodes and gateways are the key for any IoT network, and that is what we and that is why we named it as Think Node as well. You can check our website Think.cc. So these things commercially available for others and for the country. And when it comes to I think some area that I'm not covering in detail in this session is the IoT security. You might have to check out on that as well, because you can have security every layer of IoT protocol layer infrastructure, encryption, and especially the network security, like using segmentation, where you can expose only the nodes that are connected to the internet, or the essential devices or nodes that should be connected to the internet can only be exposed to the internet. Maybe you can achieve network security through firewalls. So it's all about the normal network security that we have within an organization. I think if you are a student, if you are an individual, this thing is not that much important to you for your practical application. But if you study about the industry, if you know about the companies, this thing is a very important factor, security factor, because there are sensitive information, business critical information, which cannot be exposed to others. So another thing that's very important for IoT is the IoT cloud platforms. IoT cloud platforms have many features like managing the IoT devices, managing the data coming from the IoT devices, integrating different applications, and also the security aspect of it, and managing the security, of course. So actually, by managing devices, I'm going to show you this very shortly. So wait for a moment if you don't understand this one. So how you can register a device, manage the device, monitor it, and you can authenticate basically. But this is to have an IoT network, you have to manage a large number of devices. So you should have a certain method to configure those things very easily and check the status of those things very easily. That is what we achieve through a device management and IoT platform. And you can see who has cloud IoT platforms. All the big companies like Microsoft Azure, AWS is from Amazon, Google have Google Cloud. Actually, all the big tech players have cloud platforms, because I think they all know the importance of IoT and they are into IoT, the gain out of that, and they are already leading the way. So I think you can find plenty of applications about AWS, GCP. You can see the application on the internet. There are plenty of video materials. And I just wanted to show you this integration we did with Magic and Azure integration. Because these things can be done very easily, not that much complex as well. So one platform that you all can try out is Magic Blocks, which was developed by us in Sri Lanka. It's free for you for learning purposes. You can go there simply and an account. Basically, it has a visual code builder for IoT applications, and you can develop from simple to complex applications, and it's made for learning. And you can integrate even hardware with that, not just our Magic Bit hardware. You can basically connect any other ESP32 based hardware to Magic Blocks. It's a IoT platform you can check out, and even you can use in your student projects as well. And if you are good with programming, you can use custom coding as well. So this is Magic Bit, and this is the mobile application. I invite you to check out as well. Check out that as well. The App Store, Google App Store. Currently, we don't have an iOS version, but this mobile app does it. You can simply use the sensors in your mobile. A single mobile phone has over 10 to 15 sensors, And you can use like gyroscope or the accelerometer in your mobile, in your IoT application if you're using the Magic Blocks mobile app. So I'll do a quick demo for you all. Let me share my screen. Okay, I hope you all can see my screen. So let me quickly go to Magic Blocks website and show you how you can. So if you go to Magic Blocks website, so it goes as magicblocks.io. I'll maybe post the link after the session. So magicblocks.io is the website. So if you are new to the platform, you can just create an account there. It's similar to creating a what do you call? I'll show you how you can make an account as well. So simply you can go to Magic Blocks and you just have to sign up here using your first name, email, and everything, and you get a confirmation email. And from there, you can carry on working with Magic Blocks. So basically, this has a device manager. You can see there's plenty of devices here, and you can see the status as well. If I go to the other page, I just connected one of the Magic Bits I have here through the internet. You can see I have a Magic Bit device here with me, and I connected this one to the internet through Wi-Fi. You can see it is active right now. So that when it is connected, it is shown here. And if you are keen on maybe playing out with parameters, you can give different names and all that, and change it here as well. So if you go to the programming part here, actually that is most interesting area here. So actually this cloud-based IoT platform was developed on an industrial framework called Node-RED. You can learn more about Node-RED as well on the internet. It's a very popular industrial framework, and this is one of the web-based software that this is a web-based implementation of Node-RED. We specifically developed for Magic Bit and Magic related. So actually, you can see there are different blocks here for inputs. You can see even for MQTT, HTTP. So let's say if you want to get some data from an API, you can simply have an HTTP block here and get that data. I'll show you. You can see the method is get or post method. You can get data from any URL here, and you can play with simply dragging and dropping, and you have to configure that according to the setting. And you can see the output. You can see you can display as an audio. You can again send as an input to another place on the internet. You can send to another device. You can see there are programmable functions. So if you are good with JavaScript, or I think you can program using JavaScript here. So you can basically hard code it as well if you are good in programming, but you don't necessarily have to use that. And I just wanted to show you this cool stuff where you can connect it to social media, or maybe sending an email or something like that. And you can see here we have a complete new set of blocks that we have created for Magic Bit. It's all about dragging and dropping and connecting things to create a logic. Then you can develop an application. You can see these are all Google functions like voice commands and everything. You can simply create something that is controlled through voice. So these are all Google Smart Home blocks. You can configure them and use the Google Smart Home app to connect even a home appliance that you can connect with Google Cloud application, and all these are charts and everything. I'll show you a web-based a random dashboard as well. So you can create this sort of a dashboard very easily using Magic Blocks. You don't have to worry about the web technology and all that. So let me show you a quick example, I'm getting this analog input, and to show off values, I have, so all I have to do is have the device ID of the magic bit, and I can name my SLTC, right? And I will select the LDR or the light sensor on my magic bit. Magic bit has a inbuilt light sensor. That is what I'm going to use in this application. So the output I will maybe show in a chart, and a gauge. I will use both and connect those two, and I'm going to assign it to light 2. Done. And done. Light 2 maximum one. And I need the timer to eject every 1 second. Okay, that's quite okay. Okay, done. I can deploy the code from here. It's successfully deployed. And if I go to the dashboard here now, so basically what this does is get the value of the LDR here. You can see the value is changing. So if I cover up the LDR here, you can see the values are changing. If I move my finger, you can see the value is changing again. So what I'm going to display these values on a chart and a gauge here. Let's see whether that has happened. So the random value 1. You can see here. If I cover up the sensor, you can see the value is changed. If I remove that part, I think more clear. If I can see the value just went to 0 when I cover it up, right? According to the light level that the sensor receives, you can see the sensitivity. So this is not just about displaying some information in a graph. You can program it the way you want, like maybe have triggers where after different stage, let's say you want to have your a light in your garden to automatically switch on when the sun goes down, right? So you can simply have a mechanism for that one. I think you can figure out how you can do it very easily. But if you are controlling something related to your maybe the home circuit or like a light or something, you might have to take the bit of a relay or something like that to control that switching part. But the working principle is pretty much the same. Even using this sort of a cloud-based platform, you can implement something like a voice control for a light or a fan or a AC or a motor, which is only the final controlling part. Instead of this sort of a web-based thing, you have to do a practical automation for that one to control the switch or the actuator. You might have to use a relay or something similar. I think the relay is the most relay module is a very cheap and a very efficient way to do that, and it's the most common one as well. So you can figure out how many applications you can do, and even you can solve some problems in environment using this one. And so that note, I think I just wanted to highlight you one thing. I think everybody's talking about this climate change, poverty, and the drought that we are having, the pollution that we are going through. I think as the human race, or as Sri Lanka, or as citizens of the world, we have no turning back here. And I think nobody is going to magically appear and solve all this problem, and the world is going to be a very peaceful day when we woke up one day. So the solution for every problem that we have right now is innovation. I think you might have seen that a Sri Lankan or a billionaire with Sri Lankan origin, Samath Palihapitiya, once told in an interview that the next trillionaire or the first trillionaire in the world will be a person who will be solving the climate problem. So it comes with great benefits as well. So I think all of you, as the future generation, has a huge responsibility to develop solutions. So why we are talking about this IoT and the technology is to use these in different aspects that our lives can change. I think all can do that, and that is this sort of tech innovations comes into play. Oh, these things are very important, and IoT plays a key role here because data is a very important thing, as I mentioned earlier, and data plays, and that is why people say that data is the new oil, right? So earlier, crude oil is a very valuable commodity. Now data has taken that place. That is why Google, Amazon, Microsoft, everybody is going after this IoT and data. So to summarize the use cases of IoT, I think whether it's telco or whether it's agriculture or whatever the field, basically, or manufacturing, basically IoT is for better to create better products or solutions, or maybe to achieve better resource efficiency quality through monitoring or through automation. So these are the two main areas that we are using. You can see what we are trying to do here is either reduce cost or to increase the revenues to achieve benefits or to achieve efficiencies, quality. So this is the basic idea of using IoT. And if you are developing an IoT solution for commercial purpose or to solve a problem in society, think about these steps, like identify the problem correctly, define the parameters that you want to capture, think about the hardware, how you are going to capture those data. I talked about the sensors, how you can integrate sensors. So think about the hardware, the software part, how you can integrate that with the cloud or any other application. You have to put together all these things, do the testing and debugging part, and pilot run. Actually, now by this point, I think you all might have understood. If you are developing an IoT application, you don't have to develop everything from the scratch. There, it's just a matter of maybe connecting few building blocks, like what you do with magic blocks. So it's not magic anymore. Actually, you just have to you can connect these building blocks very creatively and create something nobody have done before. So that's the beauty of this, and I invite you all to try it out as well. And when you are if you are very keen on learning more about this technology, I highly encourage you all to learn about hardware designing, like PCB designing, programming, and handling communication modules and all that. So those things comes under hardware designing. I encourage you to learn about those things as well. And one of the popular applications is hardware design, embedded systems, and all that is, or what you see, all these applications you see in today life, like mobiles, robotics, automobiles, IoT applications, everywhere is microcontrollers. That is why microcontroller programming is a very popular thing now, and very useful even for industry. And I think if you are practicing programming, electronics, IoT, you can create very tangible things this as well. And I think what you can do is you can do microcontroller programming even with magic blocks, and there are softwares like Arduino, Scratch, or maybe C# or Platform. There are several applications to do that, and that is where Magic Bit also comes into play, and that is why we created Magic Bit. Actually, we created Magic Bit mainly to promote this sort of learning in Sri Lanka, in other regions of the world, like electronic IoT area. So we have this hardware, and we have our Magic Block software and the mobile app. So Magic Block software and mobile app, all those things are free for you all. So I highly encourage you to go and check it out. It's free to use for learning purpose. So use it for your student projects and share it with it with others. And if you have even other hardware, you can integrate that one, because we made it free, because we want everyone to learn about these technologies and everyone to develop IoT solutions. And I think that is something we really badly need right now as well. So Magic Bit actually we created not only for IoT, can be used to learn programming, robotics, electronics, all these areas. And you can see we have made it very convenient to work with other cloud platforms as well. And also you can basically program it with anything on earth, anything you find on internet, you can basically try out in Magic Bit. One of the beautiful factors about Magic platform as well. And we are one of the very few electronic products from Sri Lanka to be featured in some of the international technical blogs like Hackster, Gadgets. These are not paid advertisements. Actually, they actually reached out to us after seeing our product, and we featured. And that's how we also identified that Sri Lankan made IoT products or hardware can go a long way, even in Google Map as well. And this is our global crowdfunding campaign during last month. You can see we raised over 44,000 Australian dollars through our campaign. This was done on a platform called Kickstarter, and it became a very popular product in the IoT category in Kickstarter as well. So all we wanted to do is take a Sri Lankan product, a Sri Lankan IoT product to the world, and that is what we were achieving through this campaign as well. So anybody can check out our campaign on Kickstarter. It's on kickstarter.com. You can search Magic Bit and see it has already ended, but you can check there, and if you're interested, you can pre-order from there, or maybe go to our Facebook page and put a message as well. And this is our team, Anuruddha, Akalanka, Sudat, myself. We all are the co-founders of Magic Bit. So what we are trying to develop here is an innovation ecosystem with accessories, content, community, and our community will grow to over 1,000 users by next month, and which spans over 23 countries in the world. So let me make that clear. So actually, Magic Bit community was in Sri Lanka up to now. We gave a very limited quantity in Sri Lanka, but with our current Kickstarter campaign, we have reached out to 23 countries. So our community will go beyond 1,000 users in 20 countries by the end of next month. Okay, so if you're interested on Magic Bit, you can check magicbit.cc, our website. And coming on to the topic again, and beyond IoT, you can check out the topics like big data, analytics, AI, machine learning. These things will be the other hit areas or other emerging areas, very important for you all to learn. And I highly encourage you to learn about these areas very thoroughly. Be stick onto these areas as well, because things will be those things will have more opportunities in the coming few years. And to take home, the message I want to give you is watch out for the technological trends, learn more about IoT and other technology, and start building your stuff and get familiar with it. Get your hands dirty and do it yourself. That's the only way to learn about these things. So if you correctly listen to my speech, I think by now you might understand that it's not that hard. We can do it in Sri Lanka, and you might be motivated. If you are motivated to develop your first IoT project, I think I have met my objective with this presentation. So that was my sole objective, to give you an idea that you can do this and to give you the motivation to develop your first IoT project. So thank you, and sorry if I took some more time, couple of more minutes. Thank you, organizers, for inviting me. I think we can move on to the Q&A session. I'll put my contacts on the chat as well. If you are interested, you can reach out to me anytime. Thank you. Over to the organizers.
Thank you, sir, for that amazing session. I'm confident that our attendees agree that it was an insightful and a mind-blowing discourse. And now, I would like to introduce our main sponsor for today's event, Bionic Learning Academy. They are Sri Lanka's first STEM academy for drone technology. So let me now call upon our main sponsors to address the
I think we'll go to the Q&A session first. The Bionic Academy is here, so we can have that first and then afterwards.
Right. Thank you very much for your time. So I will quickly take you through what our academy does and give you a brief introduction. Thank you for this chance. Okay, hope you can see my screen. Right. Bionic Academy is Sri Lanka's first ever robotics and drones based STEM education academy. The main goal of our academy is to teach, share knowledge, and empower the STEM learning youth of Sri Lanka. So we cover mainly drones, robotics, and electronics areas. Before I give you an introduction about the course programs we have, I would like to tell you that for this purpose, we have joined hands with the graduates of University of Moratuwa who are working in the industry as our academic panel. And of course, we offer course programs that cover fundamentals to advanced levels, covering all age ranges. So if you're interested in drones and robotics, we invite you to join with our academy. So if I give a brief introduction about the basic drone building course that we have, it teaches, the main goal is to teach you how to build your own drone from basics. So it teaches, the course duration is 2 months, and our specialty is all our course programs are usually held via Zoom. And in this course, what we teach are introduction to components, assembling a quadrotor drone, how to configure the flight control system, internal sensor system, and also in the end to fly the drone. Then we have the basic electronics and microcontroller programming course program. The main goal is to teach how to program electronic systems for anyone who likes to learn. So here we mainly focus on practical projects, and in the next few slides, I will tell you what kind of projects are covering. The course duration is 3 months. We cover night rider circuit, automated night lamp, home security systems, and many more other interesting projects. And theoretical wise, we cover basic electronics, Arduino programming, sensor integration, and real life implementation. Our next course program is Robotics, IoT, and Programming. Our goal is to teach C++, Python programming, and many others. This course teaches you how to configure a drone from the beginning in order to perform a special task. The course duration is 4 months. Like I said, we cover C++, Python, embedded systems, wireless communication, interfacing sensors, and also, like I said, to program in order to perform a task. We also have the advanced robotics course. This course is specially designed for university students and also those who are in the industry at the moment. This is basically focused on the advanced algorithms and the practical implementations. The course duration is 4 months. If I go deep into what we are going to teach, you can see a video playing down. We cover sensor systems, noise filters, sensor fusion, target tracking, implementing libraries, mathematical modeling. Further, we also teach in this course localization, path planning, navigation, control systems, combined PID systems, simultaneous localization and mapping. The animation you see here is related to localization and mapping. So why do you have to join with Bionic Academy? If I tell you, our courses are professional. These are well structured, and we are covering both local and international requirements. Our teachers are expert. Like I said, all have graduated from University of Moratuwa, and you get the chance of learning online and hands-on experience because we give you all the simulators needed for your practical sessions and also equipment. We encourage research and development. All the course materials are regularly updated with our R&D lab. And also we provide special consulting and career guidance for those who are in need. I would like to give a brief introduction about the head of our academic staff, that is Mr. Tarindu Suraj. He is a mobile robotics engineer and he's the CEO of SRQ Robotics Sri Lanka. And he's a former UAV researcher in the National Science Agency, Australia. He has achieved several awards, including the Best Robotics Research Award at the Mercon 2019. And also IEEE Australian Conference on Robotics and Automation in 2020. And also he has been recognized as top COVID-19 robotics solutions by the United Nations Development Program in Singapore. And also he has been awarded the Best Humanitarian Robotics Research Award, as well as the Best Biomedical Engineering Research Award by IEEE USA in the years 2019 and 2018 respectively. If you're interested, you can register via the link. I will share the PDF in the chat right after this presentation, or you can call or WhatsApp on this number, and also follow us on Facebook. Of course, you can just click this via the PDF that I'm going to share, and you can connect with our course programs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We have come to the most interactive part of today's session, namely our Q&A session. As you have noticed, we have circulated a Google form in the Zoom chat for you to enter in your questions. We have collected them and they will be answered by our guest speaker now. Sir, I'm going to direct the questions now that our audience has to you. A question that they have asked is, can you please tell us how our sensors connect to this platform? Are there any special sensors that we have to consider and the steps that we have to take?
Yes, I think if you are developing an application, as I mentioned before, if you are a student, I recommend you to use the development board for this purpose. And if you are using a sensor, now most of these sensors have an operating voltage or something like that you have to check for. And based on those things, you can connect it to the correct ports or the correct pins of a development board. Once you do that, you can do the programming part to read the input from the sensor, and you can interpret the data that you get through the sensor likewise in an application. I think that's what I demonstrated you, that quick application as well. In that application, actually, now my Magic Bit board, I have a light sensor here, an LDR actually. So that sensor is actually built in this device, but I can use an external sensor as well. If I use an external sensor, I have to connect it to the board through these connectors. So once I do that, I have to program the device to capture the data from those input pins in my development board, and then I can use the data. And on the other hand, if you are developing a complex application, what you can do is, you are developing your own circuitry, own hardware, you can actually have a chip or a mechanism to have an inbuilt system to do this part as well. The most generic way, that is the most common and the easiest way, is to use an existing development board. So I think that is the basic explanation I can give. Hope I answered the question, Kalin.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. So also they would like to know if there are any security challenges in IoT networks.
Yes, I think that's a very good question. Security is one part I did cover much during this session. IoT has a huge security challenge actually, because I think I saw a study done 2021 where most of the IoT implementations we have right now are not 100% secure. It's a big threat because there has been few attacks over the years for IoT networks, and that has affected many devices. Imagine now when all our home appliances are connected to the internet. So what happens if there's an attack? Our toaster is not going to work, our washing machine will be out of order, our TV is not going to work. So that is the gravity of the security of IoT devices. But there are ways to do that as well, like I mentioned during the presentation very briefly. We can have communication layer security methods, and there are infrastructure level or hardware side security methods as well. On the other hand, there are network side security measures as well. For example, if you are a company having an IoT network, you can simply have firewalls, network access control methods, and different segmentations to achieve this security. So there are ways to do this in different layers, and we cover in our session. But generally, there's a big problem with the IoT security at present as well.
Thank you, sir. So our guests would also like to know what are the languages or software that we need to learn in order to go forward with IoT.
Yeah, I think language is not a constraint for the programming language is not a constraint for IoT development. So if you are into programming, I think if you are familiar with something a basic as C, or if you are familiar with let's say JavaScript or something like Python, I think it's not a problem, because most of this hardware that is currently out there can be programmed with most of the languages. There are different ways to do that. There are extensions to do that. So I think from my side, I don't worry much about the programming language that you have to learn. The basic, because if you have learned a couple of programming languages, you will soon realize that most of them have similar patterns. So it's not that much difficult actually. But I think if you are very keen on learning about other things, what I can encourage you to do is learn the other parts, like learning how the firmware operates, how to develop the hardware side, like PCB designing. So those are the things I think if you are very keen, you have to learn more. Other than that, don't think about learning a different programming language or switching onto a different programming ID in order to develop this sort of an application, because there are ways you can do it without switching the programming language.
Thank you, sir. I think that was a good answer. So also our guests would like to know whether there are any harmful effects of 5G technologies.
I think there has been few studies about the effect of 5G, and this is in fact one of the reasons that 5G was prohibited and highly protested in some countries as well. You might have seen on TV. Even when technologies like 4G and 3G comes, there were some speculations like that. But I think if we want to conclude that it is harmful to human, we have to scientifically prove it has not been happened in a standard or an acceptable manner right now, and that is why the reason that 5G is very successfully launched and deployed in some of the countries. It already they are already deploying it, so I don't think there's a threat to public. But there has been, I also have seen studies done for the wildlife, like birds and other creatures. And for now, I think there has been no successful studies that have proven that it is harmful for humans. But I think that is yet an area that we need to explore, because always there's this speculation that wireless signals are harmful to human people. But actually, we cannot escape that, and we are living in the mid of a huge wireless network even at our home right now. Although maybe you can't see a tower near to your home, but actually you are living amidst the radio frequencies, the TV frequencies, the mobile or the Wi-Fi from your home, Wi-Fi from your neighbor. So all the wireless signals are out there right now. So the harmful factor is yet to be clarified in a scientific way. So, but for now, I think there's nothing to be worried from the data we have as of now.
Thank you, sir. So they would also like to know what the practical difficulties of implementing IoT practices in Sri Lanka and ways of overcoming them.
I think practical difficulties implementing IoT in Sri Lanka would be mainly there are challenges now from our side. We are mainly coming from a solution developer and integrator point of view. So from our side, it's even difficult to find people to do this stuff. So if we want few members, actually kind of difficult to find people who has knowledge in this area and who has the capacity to do these things. I think there's a huge void in the industry, and you all are not learning about these areas, and you all are not keen about these areas, and that will be increased in the future. I think that is why you all have to learn about these areas and be more keen about these areas, because there's a good opportunity. On the other hand, the other challenging part is getting the necessary components for the raw materials, because all the small electronic hardware components that we need to manufacture value-added products in Sri Lanka or assemble in Sri Lanka, so all these material are not available in Sri Lanka, or the basic components are not manufactured here. So we have to get it from outside. Sometimes those things take time. Sometimes there are availability issues. Now, if you take like this, there are problems even with payments. Sometimes there are problems with the regulations, like importing wireless devices or wireless sensors. If you are importing in bulk, there are regulatory barriers as well. These are some of the challenges, but I think challenges are there even if you try to do anything. And if you don't overcome the challenges, I think a toddler will never learn to walk, right? So basically, overcoming challenges is a part of it.
Yes, thank you so much, sir, for that insight. Unfortunately, due to the limited time that we have, this brings us to the end of our Q&A session. I would like to mention that we will try our best to answer all the questions that you have posted us. And now I would like to call upon our program team lead, Prince, to give an introduction on the quiz. Over to you, Prince.
Thank you, Kaldu. Hi, everyone. So, hope you all are doing fine. So, I will be discussing about the quiz we will be having from tomorrow 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So, you have 12 hours. So, the quiz will be first come first serve basis. So, which means you have to answer quickly as much as possible and correctly as much as possible. So, those who answer first with all the questions will be declared the best top scorer. So we have 3 Arduino kits and 360% discounted courses from Bionic Academy. So to get these 6 prizes, you will have to answer the questions which are taken from the session we had today, and you will simple questions with multiple choice answers. And so you have 12 hours, but we encourage you to answer them quickly as possible. And those who answer correctly in the first basis will be declared winners, and they will receive the prizes we have mentioned. So the quiz is not yet published, but we will share the link with you, and you can take the we will share the link in the WhatsApp groups you are in, and in the emails you have mentioned in your registration. So only the people who did the completed the attendance form today will be chosen among the winners. So we encourage you to register in the attendance form as well. So that's it. So hope you all understood. If you have any questions regarding the quiz, you can just email us or ask in the WhatsApp groups you are in. So thank you. Over to you, Kalindu.
Thank you, Prince. On behalf of the IEEE IES student branch of Sri Lanka Technological Campus, sir, we are immensely thankful for the wisdom you have imparted here today. Please do accept this virtual token of appreciation from our committee for your impeccable services. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting, and congratulations, guys, for organizing a very successful session. I'm glad to be part of it, and I wish you all the very best for future events and organizing such great events. Thank you, everyone, and thanks all the participants for being such a wonderful audience as well.
Thank you, sir. All good things must regrettably and inevitably come to an end, but it does not close a chapter entirely. So keep on moving and keep pushing your limits. To proceed with the vote of thanks, I would now like to invite Samakka Bandara, the project secretary, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Kalindu. Am I audible?
Yes, Samakka.
Good evening, everyone. Honorable guest speaker, Mr. Migara Amithodana, members of the IEEE Industrial Electronics Society Student Branch Chapter of Sri Lanka Technological Campus, and my fellow brothers and sisters. A simple thank you may seem like a mega pair of words, yet it is a powerful statement which expresses our appreciation and how strongly we value the person we are thankful for. Henceforth, I would like to take this moment to express my sincere gratitude to all the attendees present at the IOTLOGY workshop. First, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our guest speaker, Mr. Migara Amithodana, who without the great knowledge you have imparted on us and the inspiration you have displayed here today, this function would have not been a unique and memorable one. I would also like to thank Bionic Academy for taking part in the session and for the valuable sponsorships they have provided us as well. It is without fail that I express my gratitude to Ms. Varunika Hippola, the student advisor of the IEEE student branch of SLTC, Dr. Lasit Yasaketu, the senior treasurer of the IEEE student branch of SLTC, for being a pillar of success in our endeavors. We are truly appreciative of the constant support and the guidance you provide us with. I would also like to sincerely thank our chairman of the IEEE student branch of SLTC, Mr. Timet Pereira, and the project advisors, Mr. Tanuja Vikramasinghe, the chairman of the IEEE IES student branch chapter of SLTC, and Mr. Sinet Nimsara, the chief coordinator of the IEEE student branch of SLTC, for the inspiring words and the support given throughout the project. My special thanks goes to the organizing committee of the IOTLOGY workshop for it was due to their tireless effort and unwavering dedication that they were able to make this event a great success. At last but not least, I would also like to thank my fellow members of the IEEE IES Student Branch Chapter of SLTC and all the attendees present here today for providing your undying support in making this event remarkably successful. And we are sincerely hope that you would take part in the upcoming quiz as well, for it is a rewarding opportunity you would not want to miss. We truly appreciate the enthusiasm you showcased here today. Thank you and have a pleasant day.
Thank you, Chamatka. The opportunities of learning and discovery are endless. The mysteries of the world still lie undiscovered. So don't ever lose your curiosity and don't ever stop questioning the odds. This brings us to the end of today's session. I hope that you all were enriched in the knowledge of IoT. And we hope that all of you will actively participate in tomorrow's quiz and stand a chance to win amazing scholarships. Stay safe and have a great night. Thank you.